We are live, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Triple Profit Podcast, the soon to be number one small business podcast in the country. We're going to speak it into existence until it happens. All right. So, to my right, I have my brother, as always, Marcus Harris. What's going on, Marcus?
Happening.
All right. And to my direct bottom, he probably on your left. I don't know, depending on how your camera's set up. My brother Tavante, the Guru. How you doing, Guru?
I'm doing good, bro. How you doing?
Man, always good, man. Good. I love how mellow you keep it too, man. Real smooth. I like that, like cognac. So, man, hey, we want to thank y'all for coming through again. First off, we're gonna get this business out the way. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and please share this with anyone that will find this information vital. And today, our subject, as we talked about last week, we are going to discuss how to start a business. We know you guys have been wanting this information. We know this is something that a lot of people are seeking, that may be trying to get out of their workspace, their 9 to 5, starting a side hustle. We want to help you guys get started, getting your idea out of your head and getting your business started. Okay. So that's good. That's going to be one of the points we go over, getting the idea out of your head, deciding what it is you want to do, making sure that you validate your idea, making sure that people want what you're doing. We don't want to create something that somebody's not going to want in the future. We're going to go over some small steps on how to create your business plan, a few other different tips, tricks, bullet points, things like that. But first, we're going to just start with, like I said, we'll just go ahead and get started, go straight into it, deciding what it is you want to do. Marcus, you want to touch on this a little bit more?
Man, I tell you, there's so many different businesses to start. Most people gravitate towards something that they're familiar with, right? So I started an appliance repair business because I was familiar with repairing things. I have a degree, a couple of degrees in electrical engineering technology, computer engineering technology, a lot of hands-on working with electronics. So it was only fitting, with my years of experience to start something in a repair type of field. Others may have sales experience, so they may choose to go into real estate or commission sales or whatever. There's so many things that exist or businesses that exist in this world because we all need business to, support the world, the community, the environment.
Definitely. How about you, Devontae? What do you feel people need to do when they're trying to decide what it is they want to do? And, speak on how you kind of decided to start your business.
Well, I think Marcus hit on the point, like what you're familiar with, because usually what you're familiar with, you have access to some resources, information. Maybe you've been doing this, and maybe you have confidence in an area. I think a lot of folks choose to do things that they think are going to be bring some money in, but they forget that the things that they probably are good with are probably going to bring more money in. Like people love working on cars, but they cringe at the idea of turning it into a business because they think it's going to take away the fun, And I mean, everyone makes their own choices. But I think if you're really, really good at it and you really, really enjoy it, the thing that's missing is your systems. We're going to talk about some of that. But I think it's a good choice to do things that you're really, really good at and you really understand because your confidence level is already really high at that. And now you can start actually building a business around the idea.
I think that's a great point, man. Like you said, building your confidence around what you're good at, because it's going to take a lot of confidence to get your business off the ground. If you're going into something that's just really, really out of your well, it's going to take a lot of time to kind of get that off the ground, man. I think that's a huge starting point, just for helping decide, because it's just going to make your path a lot easier. I also think you touched a little bit on it, Devontae. Finding, kind of validating your idea, finding, it sounds like you're more putting it, almost solving the problem, like figuring out,
Yeah,
is
I didn't
your
want to say
idea
that,
your
but yeah,
business.
that's how I was going.
It was good. No, you touched it. Go ahead. Then that was the next point we were going into.
Yeah.
Validating your idea, making sure that's a marketplace. You aren't just starting something that nobody ever wants to do. Nobody has a need for. So touch on that a little bit more.
Well, like, I mean, every millionaire or billionaire, anybody who makes money always says that how you make money is solving problems. Like all day, every day. If you can solve problems, you can make money. There's someone who doesn't want to do that job. They don't want to do it. They don't want to stick their hand in that toilet. They don't
Right.
like, what I'm saying? They don't want to strip in front of people. You know what I'm saying? You could do that too. That's a problem. But there's a multitude of problems out in the world, And so if you can meet the gap of that problem, then you have an idea. And the bigger the problem, the more money you can make. You know what I'm saying? The higher need the problem, the more money you can make. So it's like, man, problem solving is amazing.
And what do you think about this though, right? So you combine the first two, right? Deciding what to do and validating if there's a need. What if you go into something just because it's a big shiny object, but the need is valid? What do you think about people who kind of jump around like that? Because I was like,
it's a shiny object, but it's valid. What do you mean by that? Say more about
so like, I tell you, I started a real estate wholesaling business, and I tell you, the business model makes sense. There is a need and people make money from it. But at the same time, it doesn't fall in my wheelhouse because I don't necessarily like to be on the phone.
Don't even like talking to people sometimes.
Right. Like, I can do it. I'm good at it. I'm skilled at it. But straight up, if I get a day where I'm like, I don't want to talk to nobody, or I'm diving deep into one of my whatever things, it just falls out of my normal wheelhouse. And people really get frustrated.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, JD. And what JD tell us, I mean, you're real estate, right? You've seen people kind of get into the business of real estate and then get out of the business. What are the reasons why they get in and get out? Like, why do you think they start and don't finish? Because I was actually I did real estate for a little while too, and I just didn't.
I think it's it's the sexy thing. It's the one. There's an image around what real estate portrays and creates. Especially with social media right now. A lot of people are in real estate are showing success. They're showing growth. They're showing wealth. They got the fancy cars. They got the nice suits. They can manage their own schedule. Blase. But there's so much grit behind it. There is that a lot of people do not like to do. There is a lot of repetitive behaviors that you have to do in this business that a lot of people don't want to do consistently. You're going to get a lot of rejection. People don't like that. You know what I mean? That's just a natural behavior. A lot of people aren't ready for that rejection. You have to do tedious follow-up. A lot of people don't want to, do that secondary conversation. Your systems have to be in place, how you're capturing information, sending emails. All of these things are, they don't seem hard, but they're tedious and it gets boring. If you don't have the mentality for that, then you're going to drop out because literally, like, it's going to be, you're going to either have to grind it out and go find deals, or you're going to have to spend a lot of money up front to bring deals to you. And a lot of people don't realize that, I think, when they're getting into it.
Yeah. So it almost sounds like it looks shiny and sexy, but when you take the clothes off, you're like, oh, this is some liposuction. This is not
bad
what I
body
paid
build. Bad body build. Yes.
Yeah, this is
yes. This BBL is horrible. Who did this? That's exactly what it is, man. When you
that was a filter. You know what I'm
saying? Exactly, man. It takes a certain mindset, because you pretty much every day with something like this, you got to get up and start at zero. Your successes from the day before don't matter. Your failures from the day before don't matter. But you got to get up and start every day at zero and remind yourself that you're gonna, even whether you close a big deal or you won't have anything coming in, you got to act the same every day because you got to repeat the same actions to create success.
Man, so because obviously you went from corporate Verizon, which is sales. And so talk about that transition, because I know going from corporate going into sales they're both kind of sales, but real estate is straight up sales. Like,
Right.
did you meet with somebody to kind of validate, the business in general? Obviously it's tried and true, but
Fortunately, so like following up with that point, the idea was already validated, so I didn't need to really go into that. Real estate transactions are constantly happening day in, day out. People need to buy real estate, people need to sell real estate, invest, stay in a home, whatever the case may be. So thank God that part was up to that. But I would say what I needed to validate was, would I be good enough for it?
Yes.
Would I be able to make transition? And I built to do the hard things that I don't want to do. And for that, I talked to some friends that were in the business and saw what they were doing. I had a couple of friends that actually had transitioned out of Verizon to real estate and picked their brain and figured out a lot of the skill set that I had developed while in corporate transferred over perfectly. There were things, there are tedious things that I had to do in corporate, didn't want to do, didn't want to have to keep doing, were boring and repetitive. But I like making that money I was making every 2 weeks. Two, you had somebody over your shoulder that was telling you, hey, you got to get this done, or you ain't gonna be able to make this money you make it every 2 weeks. So that natural, and then me just kind of having a mindset that I hate losing. I like doing things well. It was almost an easy transfer. It was just more so getting into the game and learning everything that it would take to actually be successful here. And when you really just kind of sit and look at it, it's just discipline. It's doing the things you don't want to do every day. And so it made it, I would say it definitely made it easier for me. And I could say compared to someone else that may not have ever done sales, that may not have worked in a corporate environment and had that kind of structure, it definitely helped me a lot to guide into it.
Okay. Again, man, we're talking about how to create a profitable business in 2022. I just retitled the video on the fly. That's how we're rolling today.
I like that. I like that, man. This is improv, baby.
So, all right, let's take it a step further, though. Let's stick with you, man. I like this real estate journey. We got to interview you on the podcast, man.
I see you. Run it, man. Let's do it.
So as you get to the point, man, you're in real estate. You're making that transition. And did you come into the game with a business plan? Did you meet with people to kind of develop your business plan? How did that work?
That was a process. So one, I think, and I bet you a lot of other real estate agents feel the same way. I think when you're going into it, you don't even think you need a business plan. You think you're a sales person. You don't even think of yourself initially getting. Yeah, that's just me being honest, and even speaking with, especially seeing the recent uptick we've had in people getting their license. You can see that people come into it with the mindset that you are a salesperson, almost like you're part of the brokerage or an employee of the brokerage. But in reality, you are your own business. So that took a sec. I had to kind of jump into it, get things moving, and then kind of realize like, oh, I'm a business. I'm also a business. Like, I want to do this. If I want to do this long term and not chase the shiny thing, but do this long term, I have to think of this as I'm a business entity. I'm creating something that is going to be here for a while, and I want people to come back and utilize my service over and over again. So, actually, at my first brokerage I was at, they had a way of kind of bringing those things up, trying to get you to see the bigger picture. So we never really sat down and created a business plan, but the idea was to eventually figure out and turn yourself into a business.
It's crazy you said that, JD. When you said it, I was like, I would have thought the same damn thing. I would have thought I'm a salesperson. I'm going to sell houses.
Exactly.
I'm going to show this house. I'm going to show why they need this house, and I'm going to, meet their needs, and I'm going to sell the house. I'm going to do. So you hit it right on the nail, man.
No, it's so true, bro. Like I think, like going what you said earlier is very shiny. What's that shiny object syndrome? Yeah, shiny object syndrome. So all people are thinking about is the big checks and showing nice houses and the nice car. You aren't thinking of putting money away from taxes, putting money back into marketing. Eventually, you may get burnt out having to do this yourself. So you're gonna want to probably grow a team. Like all of that is a business. It all falls in line to what you would be doing with the business. So it like I said, I think a lot of people jump into it, take 3 steps forward, and realize they got to take 2 steps back and look at the overall picture. And then, like I said, look at themselves more as a business.
Hey, so like when you're putting together a business plan, it could be as detailed as possible, but there's a few certain things that you really want to key on. What problem are you solving? What does financing look like in your future today versus down the line? How are you really going to operate? What does it look like on a day-to-day blocking and tackling? And one of the things too is, how do you stand out from others, right? Because there are a million real estate agents that exist. There's a million appliance companies. There are a million non-medical emergency transportation companies. Tavante, man, what do you think, as far as, the business plan goes, what do you think is most important to focus on, in general to you or for your business?
So of those things you listed, or just
or in general, something else that you feel like,
So I mean, initially I thought plainly finances. That's why I think a lot about finances. How I'm going to fund something and keep it alive financially, right? How I'm going to move money around, because I know that's really, really important. It kind of shifted a little bit, probably into the business, as I started to realize that there were niches available that I could claim. I could like lay my claim to this niche. As I started getting to my business, I started realizing what the gaps were. And sometimes you start a business and you think you understand the business until you actually get your knees into it. You get like knee deep into it. Then you really start to understand the ins and outs of business, right? You start to understand like who the player is in it, and you start seeing all the problems. Initially, I thought the problem was just poor service. I thought people just messing their money up and poor service. Then I realized, no, it's way bigger than that. In my business, there's huge gaps of miscommunication, and there are systems that operate on islands. They don't talk to each other at all. There's the nursing home they on their own island. There's the brokers, they're on their own island. Providers, they have a bunch of mini islands because it's a lot of them. It's a lot of them. It's like mini islands, but they're on their own. And then there's the dialysis centers and doctors. They have their own islands, but no one's really connected. And the reason why they're not is because of HIPAA. HIPAA is a huge issue. It's supposed to keep us information safe, but it causes a lot of boundaries for people to communicate. So people just make schedules, they do things, and everyone's getting mad at everyone for not following through on something. But people don't understand that, the system's not made for anyone to communicate. So that creates a lot of opportunities for those people in business who can take the time away from their business to think about, how can I capitalize on this opportunity? How can my service, capitalize on this problem? And so hope I answered your question. But first, I think I started out with finance, but I started realizing as I started getting into business that it's actually what you're doing and how you do it and your niche and your service. That's just really, really important because, in order to do that, you got to keep people excited about your service. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep them coming back, wanting and asking. If they stop asking for your service, then you don't worry about where you get the money from because you got no money.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But hey, JD, what do you think, man? If you had to go back today and do your business plan from scratch again, what would you think your focus would be?
Man, great question. Man, one understanding, like one just getting into it and doing it, going aggressive. But starting it with structure, I have a marketing strategy in place. I think I figured out unconsciously I figured out how to separate myself from the pack. Going by the champ of real estate, that was a fun thing that turned into something that separates me. Like now, instead of just walking around as the big black guy with dreads, that was already something that separated me. I'm the big black guy with dreads. Or I'm the big guy with the belt. You know what I mean? It worked out. You know what I'm saying? So it's funny. I think that's the PG way, or the what's that? The politically correct way people can discuss me is I'm the guy with the belt. So like what I would have done with that, I would have owned it more and marketed the hell out of it. You know what I mean? Put more things strategically around that idea. So once again, it separated me even more from the pack. Figured out the marketing budget, the books, definitely something, and then figuring out how to grow a team a lot faster. So like even something as small as having like our assistant Christian, having somebody that's able to enter data and do follow-up emails, all that stuff that, once again, like I said, you got to figure out these tedious things, but these tedious tasks that is somewhat busy work and not what I would call a money-making activity. I'd be trying to find someone to take that over as fast as possible. So I can be out there actually in the field talking to potential buyers and sellers and keeping the oil on the machine, or keeping the machine well oiled so it can keep moving, build equity faster. So those would be the main things. So just simplifying it, marketing, books, getting my books in order, banking all that in order, and getting help faster, growing up.
Hey man, shout out to everybody who's watching right now while Game 6 is going on. So just an update on the game. Celtics 22, Warriors 21. Just want to throw that on.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm hoping the Warriors lose. Thank y'all for joining us, all y'all Laker fans.
All right, man. So let me say, man, the business plan. So I thought I was thorough, man. I had these pointers and I wrote everything out. And your focus you can miss some things. So like in appliance repair, the one thing that I listed is what problem are you solving? It just makes sense to say that, hey, you're solving broken appliances in customer houses, right? And I wish I would have. Did not, man. I wish I would have saw or kind of deep dive into that a little bit further, because especially starting in the middle of the pandemic, you got issues with not only are you fixing the appliance, you got people who, they're going to be affected. Their food may be spoiling. We had several people who, just bought food and then their refrigerator just turned south on them real fast. You got people who've got, literally one lady, she had 12 kids and washer and dryer was out. So it may seem like a small thing to you, but when you got individuals who need their clean, that can become a hazard. So really understanding not the surface area problem, but the problem or the biggest pain point to the customer. So that way our focus on our products can be centered around giving relief to the client. So that's one of the biggest things. I wish I would have, stepped back. I think we would have launched a lot quicker if we would have did that. But one thing that we did do well, it was a couple things, and shame on me, I knew better, but it's setting up the business the right way. And I think this is where most businesses fail, especially if you're a consumer to consumer or business to consumer business, is you have to set it up right. You have to have, and when I mean right, there is no wrong or right way to do it. But as you begin, become more seasoned in your business and you want to get financing, you want to get property, you want the business to exist and you exist separately, you need to have a business address that's not your home address. You need to have a business phone number that's not your cell phone. You need to have a business website, right? You need to have your EIN. You need to file with your Secretary of State. So don't just go around doing a DBA, right? You need to set it up the right way. You can pick whatever suits your industry or what you're doing today. Corporate, Inc., LLC, sole proprietor, partnership, whatever you're doing, you set it up the way you need to set it up. All right. You need to get a business checking account. You don't want to commingle your funds. So that's a big no, especially when you go down the line. And if you're receiving a lot of income, a lot of revenue, then it can get really dicey during audit time, right? You don't want it to get dicey. And one thing that people miss out on is the free opportunities. Listing your business on Google and on the 411 directory. And what that does is that puts you in the space where people can find you. If you have all these things set up, website, phone number, address, it just works. It's one thing, you set that up right. You don't have to go back and reincorporate every year. You don't have to get an EIN every year. You don't have to do these things every year. They're almost like evergreen type of things. You set it once and you're good to go. Now, Tavante, man, we got this big business checklist too. We threw a link in the YouTube page if you want to download it for free. But setting up your business, man, what do you feel like was the most difficult part?
Actually, none of it's difficult at all. Everything is like really simple. Like I can do all those things in about 20 minutes.
Right on.
But yeah. the key is the knowledge, because when I first set my first business up, I thought, oh my God, if I don't do this right now, somebody's gonna pop out the closet and arrest me. You know what I'm saying? Like the fear was like really, really deep. But then you go to an accountant, and accountants they can do this stuff for you, and maybe when you're starting out, maybe you don't have the fund stuff for an accountant. That's completely normal. A lot of folks, when they first start a business, don't have a lot of money to go afford all these things, these professionals. I mean, eventually you want to get them on your team, because you need them to do that if you expand your business, but you may not. And so it was a process for me to learning how to do that, and it's really, really simple. It's not difficult at all. It's really easy. But I would say, I was going to talk about that one point you made with the Secretary of State. One thing you should be aware of too, if you're doing any setting up with the Secretary of State or a Department of Revenue, when you're setting up stuff with the Department of Revenue, make sure you stay upon your documentation, that monthly documentation, because if not, they will assess a fee on your ass. And I learned this the hard way. What I'm saying? I learned a lot of stuff the hard way. So listen to me, because I don't make mistakes I made. When you get set up with the Department of Revenue and you're taking in money, and you have a sales, you're doing whatever you're doing, or you got employees, you got to file a withholding because you have employees. Yep. Make sure you stay on those things, because those things will bite you. They come back. If you don't do that documentation, they will say, well, we're going to just guess for you. They just give you a number, and you got to pay it.
Yeah. They will guess.
They just throw it up in the air.
In their favor.
$1,000.
Yes, in their favor, man.
There you go. Thank you. Bring us our money now. I wish I could do that. Don't you wish you could do that, Marcus? Just 200,000.
That sounds about right. That sounds about right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I think it's about knowledge, though. If you're getting set up, what's your comfort level? Are you, okay with a little risk? Go learn some stuff for yourself. Go read code books. Go do it. But if not, go pay an accountant. Go pay someone to do it for you.
Yeah, straight up. And two, I forget, I left one out too. I knew I was going to forget it. Setting up your Duns account. So, yeah, that's
easy
one.
too.
Easy. They will work you. They will try to upsell you to this $2,000 package.
Yeah.
It's free.
It's like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes. But yeah. I paid somebody to do that and tell like, oh, that's all it was.
Yeah, nothing. So JD, man, setting up your business the right way, man. What's your thoughts on that, man? For new business people starting out?
Man, I think Devontae touched on it first. I think the hardest part is just gaining the knowledge, figuring out what you need to do, like listening, reading the right things so you know where to start. So I think that's the most intimidating part of it and why people kind of hesitate doing it and doing it the right way. They just don't have the knowledge. They haven't educated themselves on what they need to do. And as Devontae mentioned, it could come back and bite you in the ass in the wrong way if you aren't ready for that. So I think that was the biggest thing, and definitely the first step for me was getting the knowledge, getting around the right people. Shout out Marcus. Being able to sit in rooms and talk with you and figure out the loopholes and things that were missing. So I think that was the initial start. It was just learning what I didn't know and then start executing.
Hey man, good stuff. Now, like this last part, I think even I'm slowly developing. So like setting up your financial system, how you're gonna collect your money, how you're gonna account for your expenses. Are you gonna do it? Are you gonna pay somebody to help you? Right? Because at the end of the day, you're responsible for your finances of your business. So, there's plenty of things out there. I use Square. I've used PayPal in the past, QuickBooks on the back end. There's things and they cost, right? Some of them are free. There's some free options out there. But the way I look at it is if you went through all of those steps and you validated your business, you know what you're going to do, you set it up the right way, you best go make some money, man. So you don't want to set it up to say, well, I'm going to get the cheap solution because you're going to get the cheap clients. You attract what you attract. So you set it up the right way. You go into it with confidence, but more importantly, have some financial system to be able to collect your funds. And I don't know, you folks out there collecting money with Cash App, man. Ooh, good luck with that. Try to keep tabs on that. You don't want people, obviously it's going to be connected to your personal account and all that stuff. But man, we can go on with this. Your financial system. What financial system do you use, man? You have Devontae. What do you got set up, man? Is it complex, simple?
So I work through a broker, which one of the benefits of that is that they just send me a check or send me a direct deposit to my account. So I don't really need a system with that. And we do a lot of trips through them. We do some private checks. So I do have Square. And we have a system where we take a code in, create an invoice. We send the invoice to the customer. They like it. The invoice has the link to pay and everything. They just go in and pay. So that works for us. But we don't use that a lot because we just do so many trips through the broker.
All right. Yeah, definitely, man. We do some 1099 work too here. So We like the checks. Those are easy, man.
Easy money.
JD, man, what about you, man? 1099, man. How do you manage that? Is it on the real
I missed
estate
the
side?
first part of the question. My headset cut off. So go back to
So you got your financial system set up, man. How do you manage your financials? You know, coming from the real estate perspective, 1099 checks coming in. What kind of systems do you have in place to manage what you're coming out, what you're spending?
Got you. For me, I kept it old school. Because like I said, when I first started, I didn't start off with the LLC for my business. I can still collect. I was collecting 1099 in my name, but I was just disciplined with my spending habits, making sure I put over what I was going to need to pay Uncle Sam, put over, or put money aside for my marketing, things like that, where I just was very disciplined and keeping track. I'm real big in delayed gratification, so I'm not somebody that's going to be out trying to showboat, or fake it till I make it. So it was one of the I don't suggest it, but it was how I was able to start, because at least I had that discipline early on, to where it was easy for me to just say, like, okay, I have this check. I'm not gonna go buy a new Rollie. I'm not gonna go buy, my girl a new bag. I'm not gonna get some fancy car just so I can show it off. I was just very, very smart. I listened to, once again, going back to the knowledge, listening to my broker, knowing exactly what I needed to, because he had done it for 15, 17 years. Listening to him and just literally writing down, okay, like, each check, this is what you need to do. 10% here, 10% there, 10% there. And then just separating the accounts, so I knew what was where, and being disciplined enough to not touch it.
Okay, right on, man. Now let's move into this sales machine, man, because you got something to add in there, Devontae?
No.
Okay. I was gonna say, man, the sales machine. Now I know, Devontae, you broker, man. You broker a lot of your deals, and in your industry, you don't have to be reliant on a lot of marketing, man. And even in my industry, you don't necessarily have to be relying on a lot of marketing to get calls, because appliances break every day.
Yeah.
Right. But JD, man, you're in a highly competitive space, man. How important is marketing and finding the right customer to work with?
Man, I think for the long term, extremely important. When you get into real estate, you might, especially if you're in retail real estate, you might be able to fall into a couple of deals just off your circle of influence. Your uncle might know somebody, your sister might give you somebody, co-worker might know someone that's looking to buy or sell, and you can get your first few deals there. But over time, to do this for a long time, you are going to have to set up a marketing budget. You have to figure out what you want your marketing machine to look like. How much are you able to spend a month? What area do you want to market in? Are you gonna utilize Google? Are you looking to utilize Facebook? Are you gonna attack Instagram? I think you find one and start there first. At least my idea with real estate. Find one that you feel works, that you can really, really learn, and attack the mess out of that, reap the benefits from it, and then pump it back into your machine. So learn, if you feel more comfortable on Facebook, learn the hell out of Facebook, market the hell out of Facebook, figure out that beast first, tame that beast, and then once you have that down, go into Google, attack the hell out of Google, build that, and then start attacking the rest. But that's kind of how I would go about it, just figuring out. And if you don't have the budget to start with, don't worry about that. Get it with figure out how you can team up with somebody. Figure out how you can utilize your credit. If you can, work on getting business credit. That'd be a key thing. Figure out different ways you can leverage it, so you can pump some money into it, and don't be scared. That's a big one. Don't be scared to do it. You realize that it take money to make money.
Yeah, that I think, man, when you go into a competitive market like that, you gotta spend some coins, right? And I'm looking at it right now where we're expanding out and doing a little bit of garage door service. And man, it's competitive. They're spending big bucks, what I consider. I thought I was, doing something, throwing $300 out there a day. Minimum is 500. So you got to spend 500, maybe even $2,000 to get a good kind of jump out there. And if you're not willing, you can fix garage doors all day. But if you want to be an owner of the company, you're not willing to up $2,500 in a week to hope you get something.
Sheesh.
It's a whole nother story. And it's the same thing with real estate. If you're not willing to pump that money in to be able to be seen, to rise above the crowd, to show everybody what you can do to get that opportunity, man, it could be difficult. Difficult.
You'll get drowned out by the people that are doing. Straight up.
But not growing your team, looking at overall every business in order to continue to grow and thrive, right? The team has to grow in some aspect, whether it's head count or abilities, right? Adding on services, whatever it may be. And Tavante, what do you think about the importance of growing the team and how do you feel your comfort level?
So I'll be honest, we've had discussions about my issues with growing my team. This has been the background conversation.
Marcus knew what he was doing right there.
Yeah, he said he was feeling. He's like, here you go, Javante. That's just step right into the trap. But no, it's all good because I think this channel is about we're all business owners, but we're not perfect. We're all learning and sharing experiences, and this is an obvious one that is challenging for me. And we've had discussions about this. I've gone through. I've attempted to grow my team by looking at and hiring drivers. And honestly, I've had to make a decision about what I'm comfortable with. And it was only through trial and error that I figured out what I was willing to do and what I was not willing to do. Some of you guys got kids. I got my business. My business is my kid. You know what I'm saying? I put a lot of energy in my business, and I put a lot of belief into it. So I'm just not going to hand my business over to a driver who's working hourly. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it because they just don't care about my business like that. And I'm not mad at them for not doing that. So I've had to figure out what will work for me. What things do I want to grow my team? And I'm actually excited about business partners. I'm excited about bringing on people with skin in the game, people who are willing to make the investment and see value in the system I've already built and the ease that they can step into without going through the trial and tribulations that I've gone through over the last year and a half, trying to figure this out. And I think that's more advantageous for me, for the reasons I just described. But also, I get a chance to do all things that I'm really, really good at, like mentoring. I love mentoring. I love it. I want to mentor people who want to make $100,000 a year. How about that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I want to see this opportunity spread through many locations where people can get the same quality service, which poses to my idea, because I'm a control freak. I am. That's something about me too. I like to have control. So franchising is my thing. And so I think it's one of those things that as you grow your team and you do anything, you can take information from a lot of people, but at the end of the day, it's your decision to make. You have to make a decision that's going to be best suited for you and that will work in the overall vision. Sometimes you don't know that you make a lot of mistakes.
Well, I'm gonna work on you, man. We're gonna get you. We're gonna get you the W2s, man.
Marcus keep fighting.
Marcus always tells me,
man.
you got to have 5 drivers. 5 drivers.
Gotta get you out there. That'd be Marcus. We gotta get you out the business, man.
I get you out.
We gotta get you out of there, man.
Yeah, I agree. That goes back to the whole point, because when you first grow this business, you put a lot of energy into a lot of time. And you can't get sucked into the idea of where you are. You can. But the thing is, you're not gonna move from that place until you yourself get comfortable.
Right.
So,
hey man,
I'm getting there, Marcus.
My opinion, I look at growing
for you, Marcus. How was it for you? Like, when did you decide you needed to grow, and then what was that process like?
Man, for me, it was out the gate. Out the gate. Yeah. No, straight up, man, because I came into this looking for something that's scalable, right? You know, working in a corporate environment for so long, you're managing so many people. At one point, I had like 64 people that was a direct line up to me, and managing managers. It was something that I felt like I was really good at, and for me, I felt like in order to get the same just excitement or the same, just happiness in my day-to-day life will be put in some similar type of environment. So I set out what business that I can find and how to scale out the gate. So that was always my intention. So when I'm looking at growth, I look at it now from different aspects. So not only just head count, because it sounds great. Yeah, I've got 20 people working for me. But at the same time, I would rather have 20 streams of income within the organization. Maybe not 20, but 4 solid streams of income within the business that 20 people can manage. Right. Yes. So growth looks different from my perspective now as opposed to what it did, 2 years ago, where I was like, hey, we got to get a couple people here to serve the needs of Bakersfield. But, now that we have enough and we've expanded beyond Bakersfield, it's like, okay, well, growth today looks a little bit different, for me.
Right.
Now, for you though, man, what does this look like? Because I know this is our last topic, man. So I'll let you close this out. But what does it look like for you, man?
For me, growth, the next level of growth is a team. Trying to have get an assistant, a couple buyer's agents under me. Building something out. Like I think that the name's going to be Champ Camp. That'll be a little catchy tab. Yeah. So
I like that. I like that, bro.
I love wordplay, bro. I got that down, man. That part of the marketing, I'm good. But yeah. I just got to get the people in Champ Camp, man. But I know for me, even when I was in corporate, I always had fun helping people kind of have their aha moment. Figure out, whether that be them figuring out what they were doing wrong during the transaction, what they could have done better, but even just seeing their true potential more than anything, like getting them to tap into that, what they were capable of, and getting them to kind of just open up and literally see them have that moment where it's like, oh, I didn't think about it like that. That's always been fun to me and cool to me. So that's my bigger why, is trying to get some people under me that I can help develop, and then hopefully and fortunately like have them, build a skill set and get out there where they're creating wealth for themselves and their family in the long term. So that's like the next big step for me, in this next year or so. It's like getting enough success and enough momentum to have some people under my wing, where it's not just about taking the weight off my shoulders or just not doing, having somebody do the things that I don't want to do, but more so just helping somebody along the way, just like somebody helped me.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, that's ultimately, man, at the end of the day, are you serving your community? Do you do something that you like, you love, you can get up every day and be proud of?
Right.
That's really what business is about. So, whether you make $1 million, $10 million, $1 billion, $1 trillion, at the end of the day, that's irrelevant. Your health, your wealth, your mental well-being is always as important. And just remember, when you're running a business, you can always quit and go work for somebody.
What? Who would do that? Who would do that?
Hey, but you're right. It's like I had that same saying about moving out of your hometown. You can move out of your hometown to create growth, man. It's the quickest way to really, really develop growth. And guess what? Hometown will still be there when you get back. It's the same thing, I think, with starting a business. You can start that business, it fell it into the ground. There's going to be another job you can go get hired at. You know what I mean? Corporate is always, as much as corporate is always firing, they always hiring too.
I don't want to go back. Yeah,
I agree with you there, Savante. I agree with you there.
I ain't going back.
I ain't going back. I ain't fucking leaving. For real, man. Hell no.
Well, shoot, man. All right. We went about an hour today, man. This is good. This is good, man. Again, this is how to create a profitable business in 2022. The free business checklist in the description. So another Thursday. We're here every Thursday around 6 on YouTube. We are the Triple Profits Podcast. And everybody take it easy. About to go into halftime too, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Before we leave. Once again.
49-33.
Okay.
Damn, did the Celtics not score since our last week?
Oh my God, don't say that.
Man.
Don't forget to like, click, and subscribe.
It's 51-33. God damn. All right, man. Like, clip, and subscribe. I'm gonna miss the whole game. It's over at halftime. All right.